tuned in to a Grown Folks production. In mix. With the Commish, Nate.
And just like that, welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL. World's longest, oldest online CFM in the whole world. Started in 2001 as a PC league, still going strong today. If you've been here at any time, you've heard all this. I am your host, the founder and the commissioner of the OMFL and of the Grown Folks community. And as always, my buddy that is with me, Mr. Maniac, the founder, commissioner of the Deuce and owner of the Atlanta Falcons here in the OMFL. Oh my goodness, I did that all in one breath. How you doing, Mr. Maniac?
Doing wonderful, man. Excited to get in today's show. Got a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about. Some interesting things.
Maniac, we are one subscriber away from 1,000. We are on 999. We need one more, and we finally get 1,000. We need two more to finally break that 1,000 threshold. It's been 4 years, and so we're almost there. The YouTube charts are definitely helping us get there. The vertical streamings are helping us get there. We're trying to pick up our game, okay? There's so much stuff going on in our real life, but we got NCAA dropping. We got Madden 25 news right around the corner. We got new games dropping all the time. So Nate's going to figure out a way to kind of step up this video game here and get out some more news. But the live streams just make things so much easier. I don't have to record something and then edit it and then post. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I can just do a live stream. Maniac, you ready to do some recapping?
Let's do some recap.
Take it away. Week number 5 here in the OMFL.
All right. So there is, as we've always said, there's so many games we could talk about. We could spend all day on a week, or at least I could. But getting into week 5, I'm just gonna kind of give just a couple of games we could look at. We could have looked at the Bills and the Dolphins, 28-24 victory by Buffalo. That one looked like it was a really good game. Condors and Jacksonville, that was a closer game than I probably would have ever anticipated. Jacksonville's been kind of up and down, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of player. One week he scores 3 points, the next week he scores 30 something. So it's you never know what you're gonna get. It's like a box of chocolates or something. But the Jets and Titans, this one was a sim, so we're not gonna mention that one. Another one would have been Tampa Bay and Carolina. Both these guys play tremendously well, no matter what their record is or what they feel like it's going to be. Because if you talk to them, they got the worst team in the OMFL. But these guys, man, they put up points week in, week out. The game that I want to focus on though is talking about the Desperados and the Arizona Cardinals. Desperados, little Koch, and then we got the Cardinals with Mr. Joker. Both these guys are having pretty decent seasons right now. I think up until this point, I believe San Antonio was undefeated, or maybe this is the week after they got knocked off. But both guys are playing really good ball right now in the OMFL. So looking at some of the stats, breaking down the both offenses had a decent day this game. 418 yards on offense for the Cardinals, 250 for the Desperados, 104 yards rushing, 118 for the Cardinals. So both guys had their running attack in this game clicking. Offensive passing yards, Cardinals, they've got the upper hand on that one, 300 yards compared to 146 yards. Both guys were getting first downs. As if you look at the stats, they're 15-21. I think, though, looking at this, really, you got to give a hand to the Cardinals here, even though they didn't come out victorious. They look like they had really good red zone offense. They scored 2 offensive touchdowns. It don't look like they had as many opportunities as the Desperados, but the Desperados also had 2 touchdowns in the red zone. Let's look at player stats. Henry having a phenomenal season. He kind of had a letdown last season, but he's kind of come back with a vengeance. 335 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did have a pick, and both defenses were getting after the quarterback because both guys were sacked 4 times. 19 of 33, Henry dry stick for the always like have to pause when I see his name. It's just so different.
Can we talk about the head on this dude? Look at that thing. That's a noggin right there, bro.
Yeah, man, he has got a forehead. He's Mr.
That's
Forehead
a 15 head.
10-gallon hat here in Texas we'd had to feed him with. So, but he had a solid game, but it wasn't like nothing spectacular. It wasn't setting the world on fire. 10 of 18. 55%, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 178 yards. And the one thing that kind of surprised me, the long of 28. So the Cardinals kind of held in check that deep passing attack that we've seen the Desperados have so far this season. Rushing, Wilkinson, he had 85 for the Cardinals. He had a touchdown. He's having a pretty decent season. The rookie here for the Desperados, Bruce Allen, putting in some work, 18 carries, 71 yards, 3.9 yards a carry. So he had to put in some work and get those yards, but did get in the end zone with a touchdown. As you see, there's also some other guys getting in some carries as well. Dwayne Little, this guy, everybody kind of, from 2 seasons ago, he set the OMFL world on fire. Everybody put him on their fantasy rosters, and he disappeared last season. But we're seeing him kind of have a resurgence this season right now. And Dwayne Little, 8 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Barkley, I think he's pretty much on everybody's fantasy football roster right now. 4 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. So putting in some work. Covington is another sneaky guy here for the Cardinals. He had 4 catches, 56 yards. Breaking down the defense just a little bit, we talked about the 4 sacks on both sides of the ball. The sack leader in this game was from the Cardinals, Kilo Jacks. He is a rookie from Louisville, or Louisville, however you want to pronounce that. But it's 2.5 sacks. Definitely getting after the quarterback. Three tackles for loss. So this guy was making his presence known in the backfield. Denzel Ward, not only getting it done in the defensive backfield, but he's also getting in the backfield of the opposition, making a tackle for a loss and a sack. 10 tackles on the day. But all the sacks were kind of spread out. All these guys were getting in on the fun on taking the quarterbacks down in this game. Interceptions. This linebacker for the Cardinals, he's been spectacular since he's brought him in. Eric Curtis, 13 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and an interception. Thompson put in an interception as well. And then Mr. Delpit, is that how you say his name? Delpit? I figured you say he came from LSU, so
yeah,
so
Grant
I figured
Delpit.
you know how to Delpit. All right.
I think he's from Texas, though.
He Delpit dealt it, and he got an interception. And but man, looking at the stats, and I mean, this game was really kind of a good game. I didn't get to tune into it, but it looks like it was just kind of like down to the wire. Both guys getting points. If you look down the breakdown for the quarter, San Antonio jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And then both teams scored in the second. Arizona kind of came back a little bit in the second, held the Desperados to no points in the third. But the Desperados did get that 7 points there in the fourth quarter. And that was probably the deciding factor there. But, man, these guys put on a pretty good show from what it looks like in the stats.
Yeah, that was a really, really good game. A couple of good games. Week 5 was scheduling. We could do better. Then we got it going. Oh, yeah, it was a blocked field goal. That's right. We just showed that stat here. So a blocked field goal that led to a touchdown and ended up winning that game. We sort of popped everybody on the behind a little bit in week 6. Much better scheduling. But then we went right back to week number 7. Terrible scheduling. I just wish we could get this thing figured out. Week number 6 had a ton of really good games. We could talk about those same Desperados playing to a 34-23 victory over Big Hurt and the Buffalo Bills. We could talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squeezing one out against the Houston Texans late in that game. That was a really fun game. Tennessee with a 1-point victory over Jacksonville. That was a really, really good game. Denver and Detroit playing to just a 1-score game in that one. Baltimore squeezing one out against the Rams, even though I think that might have been a CPU game. I'm not 100% sure on that one. And then the New Orleans and Carolina game. This was an instant classic game. It will be in the files for instant classic. Go back and watch this one. Saints take a late lead. Thought they had this one under control. Bryce Young was hurt. Ends up bringing him back. Saints throw a pick 6. End up losing that game. But I wanted to talk about Cincinnati and Orlando. This was a really good game where Orlando squeezes out a 27-24 victory with 23 points being scored in the fourth quarter. Lots of passing in this one, 224 yards to 228 yards. The Bengals sort of abandoning, or at least not getting that rushing game that they are normally used to having. Orlando, on the other hand, getting it done with 174 rushing yards, but 3 big-time turnovers for the Cincinnati Bengals. It felt like there was maybe some bad blood after this one. I don't know. You know how things go here in the OMFL. Richardson, 106.5 QBR in this game, 237 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Joe Burrow, though, sacked 4 times, throws 3 picks, no touchdowns, QBR 56.7, and a completion percentage of 58. So not the game that we're used to seeing from Mr. Joe Burrow. McGee held in check. I say that 5.8 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns is pretty good, but he only touched the ball 13 times. Taylor, 20 for 94, no touchdowns on the day. Jamar Chase, 6 for 96, no touchdowns, as we talked about a little while ago. And really that defense there for the Orlando Condors, we'll get it out, doing a great job. Quiddy Payne, what a name, left in for the Condors with 2 sacks on the day. Uke with 1, probably not saying that correctly. Galdmore with 1, Wilkins with 1, and then your interceptions are coming from Cruz, Brents, and Bayard. And the Condors come away with a couple of point victory against the Bengals. It's going to go a long way when it comes to seeding whenever we get to the AFC. Good to see you, Bird, Bill, Bronco Man, and Mr. Nisangar. Good to see you guys. Week number 7, Mr. Maniac, take us away.
All right, week number 7. Man,
you better not do it. You better not do it.
I won't talk about my game.
No, I don't want you to skip your game. You got to talk about your game.
Okay, I'll do it. I really hate to do it, but man, Kevin.
No, you don't.
Kevin is such a great opponent, man. He's so tough, man. His record shows he's struggling, but man, his offense is just lights out. This game, both of us, we actually had to start this game over. We got down to the fourth quarter with 2.5 minutes left or something like that left, and the EA servers dropped. We desynced, and we had to play the whole game over because it was only a 7-point game. And so anyway, but this game started out totally opposite from the first game. Tampa Bay jumps out to 21 points pretty much within just 3 plays. It seemed like he's just got such a deep ball going on. But looking at the offensive yards, 435 yards for the Buccaneers, 395 for the Falcons, 121 yards rushing for the Falcons. Again, that's kind of been the bread and butter for the Falcons this season. But the Bucs actually got their rushing game going. First game we started playing, I think he only had 38 yards rushing towards the end of the game. But this game, he finally kind of got figured out and got things rolling in the rushing attack. Offensive passing yards, 320 to 274 for the Falcons. There was definitely a plethora of first downs in this game. 21 for the Falcons, 22 for the Bucs. So who's punting? Nobody was punting. It was just all just offense. Total yards 456 to 476. It was crazy. We only had one turnover in the entire game. Third down conversions, the Bucks got that there. I think I was keeping everything pretty much first, second down. I was getting first down, so I didn't have a whole lot of third downs to try to get in. But man, he was offensive red zone. Falcons 100%. This is where the Falcons have improved this season. The Bucks held him to 50%. Actually had 2 goal line stands in that game for the Falcons, so that was a big difference in this game. Parker Colt, he's back in the graces with me right now. So he's got he had a pretty good game, 18 to 23, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 78%. So he was clicking this game. Steve Ryder, the first game we played, we harassed him the whole game. He only had like 100 and something yards passing. He came out with a vengeance in this game, 3 touchdowns. Did have the 1 pick, but he was sacked a couple times, and the Falcons were still getting after him. But man, he was making quick and good decisions all game long. Rushing, Sean Tucker getting it done, 18 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Robinson 18, 105, and a touchdown. And of course, you can see the guys getting some backup carries there. Receiving, Drake London finally got going this season. He kind of been left in the dust. 5 receptions, 119 yards, did not get in the end zone. But he had been struggling this season, not really getting much into the offense. But you're looking at the Bucks. Godwin, always one of their top targets for Ryder. 6 catches, 104 yards. Getting his tight end in with 4 for 88. Palmer is so hard to stop as well. The guy's just got speed and just gets past and deep into the back end. 2 touchdowns in this game. Tolbert actually made his presence felt for the Falcons with 2 touchdowns. He was more getting things done in the red zone for the Falcons. Pitts actually had a better game this game than he has all season. 4 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. So again, if you look at this right here, obviously the quarterbacks are spreading the ball around because on both sides, multiple guys were getting touches. It wasn't just focusing on one guy. Looking at the defense, Isaiah Simmons, this guy, Kev likes to use him a lot, and he does really well with the safety. 10 tackles. His cornerback, the young guy out of LSU, Andrew Lawrence, 10 tackles as well. In the first game, he actually made a pick, but that didn't count. It was in the second game, but he was still doing a decent job locking down. Carlos Cortez, for the Falcons, he actually had 10 tackles. Again, when you see, just to make a point here, you see that the top 3 tacklers on both teams are in the defensive backfield. It means that guys were getting some rushing yards, and that was kind of the case. But Anderson had 1 tackle for a loss, 8 tackles, 1 sack. Looking at the other sack in that game was from Mozzie Smith. So for the Falcons, they were getting after the quarterback, just didn't have all the sack stats here. And then the 1 pick here, this was actually a user pick with Cam Smith. Actually kind of baited him into this pick. So, man, it was a good game. This game was just kind of a nail biter, walk-off field goal, pretty much to win the game for the Falcons. But again, Kev and his record shows, I think they're like 2-5 right now. But man, he played like he was a defending champion in this game, and it was a really good game, right down the wire. It was very entertaining. The other game I was thinking about talking about was the Panthers and the Seahawks. That was kind of the one I was going to look at, but you kind of twist him arm a little bit. So
a lot of good games though here in week number 7. You could also talk about San Antonio and Pittsburgh, 32-30. Miami 24, New York Giants 31. Giants kind of keep things rolling. Vegas with another big win over the Kansas City Chiefs. A couple of good games. That Carolina-Seattle game, I didn't get to watch this one. I just caught it at the very end. That was a really, really good game between those two guys. We have no OMFL news, but what we do have is taking a look at week number 8, 9, and 10. I don't know why I've got the yawns. They just have come out of nowhere. I'm over here battling the yawnsies. Buccaneers, Jaguars, I think that could go a long way in deciding what's going to happen with the Buccaneers season this year. Who else is going to be a really good game? There's some I don't know, questionable games. Chiefs. Listen to me. It's because I was looking at the Chiefs just there. Ravens and Steelers. That's going to be a really good game. If Nipples is around, I know he's out for some time, but if he is around, that should be a really fun game. Bengals, Cardinals, that could go a long way in deciding what happens to the Cardinals season. The Bengals have dropped a couple of games here that we thought that they could win. Jets and Cowboys might be game of the year, or at least one of the contenders. That is going to be a really fun game. And then if that's a contender, then the chicken tender one is the Panthers and Falcons. Another classic game between the Red Falcons and the Carolina Panthers, who are trying to build some momentum and get things going. I think those are some classic games in week number 8. What about week number 9?
Week number 9, kind of looking at some divisional games here. Dolphins and the Patriots. I think this one could be a really good one. The Slaw Sniper has kind of seemed to get things rolling a little bit better this season, so I'm so happy for him. The Dolphins, I think they are winless, or they may only have one win, but their record doesn't show. But man, they have been putting up some points with that rookie quarterback. He's got like 15, 18 touchdowns, I think now. So he's just really putting up some stats. So I think that's really going to be a good game. I think this is an intriguing one. Dwayne and the Cowboys with Big Hurt and the Buffalo Bills. Both guys are actually Cowboys fans. I don't know if Big Hurt with coaching, if he's going to be able to play, but this one could be an intriguing one because we've seen from the past both these guys play each other pretty well, pretty evenly matched. Scrolling down, the Cardinals and the 49ers, I think this one could be a really good one. The Cardinals have improved tremendously this season. We talked about already with one that the first games from week 5. If he comes into this game having won the next 2, this one could be really intriguing. And I think just breaking down some of the stats, I think the 49ers, they have the number 1 passing defense right now and the number 4 rushing defense, 5th overall, and the fewest points allowed. But I think one thing that's kind of strange is they only have 7 sacks. So again, this is kind of one of those games that it could go either way, but definitely one to watch. And I will give this one another one to the Steelers and the Bengals. I think this one, I don't want to call it like a grudge match, but these guys just kind of they play each other really close. It seems like every time you see a score from the Steelers and the Bengals, it's always like a 34-31 or a 24-21 type game. So again, this one's one to check out because it definitely could be an exciting one to watch.
I agree with all those. Let's take a quick look at week number 10 as we wrap things up. Saints and Bucks, hopefully that'll be a fun one. I don't know. My team is all over the place and have no clue what to expect out of that game. Giants and Cowboys. Giants are having a really good season. See Murder, Colin, he has built such a great team. He's going to be running up against the buzzsaw this entire Madden cycle. But a team that we're still waiting for him to get to the big game this cycle. I think he can. I want him to. But the Giants are going to be quite the test for each other. Chargers and Bengals, that's going to be a really fun game between two guys that just have weapons all over the place. Cardinals and Seahawks, you were talking about those Cardinals, man. They have quite the stretch here. 49ers and Seahawks back-to-back here. Cardinal season could either get fully pumped up and like, wow, look at what this team is doing, or it could get derailed for quite some time there. Titans and Falcons. Penguins is back around. I know he doesn't have the team that he wish he had, but he's going to be running up against the buzzsaw. That should be a fun one. Broncos having a pretty fun season. They're up against San Antonio. That should be a really fun game. And then Condors and Jets, two powerhouses in the AFC for the last two Madden cycles, but definitely this Madden cycle, they're going to be going at it here, and that may go a long way to determining who is that number one seed, and we've seen that become very important in the AFC side. And that is a look at week number 8, 9, and 10 and what's to come. There's no OMFL news today, though, Mr. Maniac, because our buddy had the day off. And he is outside doing yard work. And he says, I don't have time for you, Nate. Sorry, no OMFL news. And I said, hey, I don't like your tone. Don't talk to me that way. No, I'm just kidding. We are going to do some Commish Power Rankings. Then we're going to do some shocking stats. I asked each of us to find 2 things that just caught us off guard as we was digging at it. And you mentioned one. I don't know if it's going to be one of yours, but Mr. Duke almost made my list. He came in as a 2B for me because Mr. Duke is having quite the season. I want to unpack my OMFL Commish Power Rankings, but this time I did not have my normal pretty sort of graphic that I have up here. Matter of fact, I'm trying to find it right now, and I can't even find it. Where is it at?
We need graphics.
Why is it not here? I don't understand what I've done. It's normally right here. Anyway. Oh, is it this one? No, that's not it. Okay, forget about it.
A really good job on the graphics, though. Just throwing that out there. You know,
Thank you, buddy. I just didn't have time today. As anybody in the OMFL knows, I have been faced with one of my biggest professional life decisions ever outside of moving to the city of New Orleans, which is probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life. It's not on this profile for some reason. I don't know why. I screwed that up some way, somehow. And anyway, my current organization made their pitch for me to stay today, and so I was super busy. I don't have a graphic to show you, so we're just going to come over here and look at these 2 beautiful faces, and I'm just going to give my OMFL Commish Power Rankings, and the Maniac is going to give me his thoughts. Coming in at number 5 is a team that has been a powerhouse this entire cycle. He overcame, or he benefited from having a great quarterback, and then overcame not having a great quarterback as that guy just digressed, and he built a great quarterback. Always plays really great defense. We're talking about your green and whites over in New York, the New York Jets and Mr. Kobe. They're coming in at number 5. I think he's had a spectacular season, but he's got a bit of a roadmap here right in front of him. We looked at it at 8, 9, and 10. He's got some big games coming up. It's going to go a long way to determining the future of what the Jets are going to be in season 110. And then coming in at number 4 is going to be this guy right here. Oh, wait. I'm going to point. Well, if it's vertical, he's down there. If it's the other one, it's over there. And that's Mr. Maniac and the Atlanta Falcons, undefeated, rolling through people over here, making people doubt they even want to play Madden 24 ever again. This guy has got his quarterback back. He's playing superb football, playing really good defense. He's turning people over. The Atlanta Falcons are shocking folks in the NFC. Better be on notice. He's coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is another powerhouse team. Actually, the next 3 that we're going to talk about, they're the standard bearers here for Madden 24. Number 3 is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. He's got the run game. He's got the pass game. He's got people snooping and watching every micro fraction of a frame of every game that he plays so that they can find out how this guy's cheating to beat all of us. The 49ers are just dominant. He has won multiple time championships this cycle. He's got more championships than I even want to fairly admit this entire career here in the OMFL. The guy is just unbeatable, unstoppable. They have had one little speed bump this season, but he comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is the Dallas Cowboys. They have just been superb. Cycle after cycle after cycle. This guy just doesn't matter the rules, doesn't matter what we throw at him. He finds a way to continue to win. And right now he's winning with dominant defense, an outstanding run game, arguably one of the top 3 run games that we ever seen in the OMFL. And he's doing it with a quarterback that can scramble and throw from time to time, but not make all the throws. He's still getting it done. I think he's 31st in passing, and he's still an undefeated team that's rocking and rolling in here in season number 1 team. And then my number 1 team, the Orlando Condors, a champion here in the OMFL, a guy that has also, a lot like Dallas, built a superb defense that will turn you over, that will harass your quarterback. He's got a quarterback that can get it done with his legs and his arm. He's got super fast wide receivers, a run game that one could argue is the best that we've seen this entire Madden cycle. This guy's consistently put his running game at the top in the OMFL every single season. This dude just gets it done. Bronco Man has got the Orlando Condors rolling once again and coming in at number 1. And the team that I left off that was really close to making it, the Seattle Seahawks. And the only reason I left Meek off is because he did lose against the 49ers, who are my number 3 team. And so who do I boot? The Jets? The Falcons? You got to put somebody in there. So I only put the 49ers in front of the Seahawks because of their victory over the Seahawks. My top 5, Condors, blah, 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 blah. Let's try that again. Condors, Cowboys, 49ers, Falcons, and Jets. What do you think about the Commish Power Rankings, Mr. Maniac?
I think you've been drinking Kool-Aid, man, because the Falcons are not that great. But
they're undefeated, so the record actually tells you that I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah, I looked at that, and I really am kind of amazed because like our top 6 all have the same teams listed in there. The way I would rank these, though, 49ers number 1, because again, he's still defending champion. Nobody's knocked him. Well, the Desperados didn't knock him off, but we saw that I think the 49ers lost one game last season and went on a run and went undefeated into the bowl game. So Cowboys number 2, Dwayne is just always steady Eddie. You know what you're going to get with Dwayne, but you can't stop it most of the time unless you're D-Money. And that's just kind of that's the way it's kind of rolled. The Condors, I think they are the number 1 team in the AFC. He fits in my number 3. Definitely, he's just well-rounded, well-balanced. He's got a good, solid defense, good passing attack, great rushing attack. So just so hard to stop. Jets are my number 4. Just because he's always kind of there. So far this Madden cycle, he's just been right there at the in the championship games, or just right at that almost at that point getting to the bowl game. So he's my number 4, and I put the Seahawks at number 5 over my Falcons, which I put at number 6 because I haven't done anything yet this Madden, so it could be a fluke. That I'm 6-0, and but I will say that my Falcons, the thing that has really changed this season is my defense has played a lot better than they have this entire cycle. So that has helped a lot. But I'm fixing to have some teams coming up that's going to be licking their chops and see if they can take out that 6-0 start. So
this isn't the Madden 24 cycle power rankings. This is the season 110 power rankings, and how you put a couple of one-loss teams over an undefeated team is beyond me, Mr. Maniac, but we'll argue about that a different time. And all of a sudden I feel
hey we didn't have OMFL news today, so we can argue, take a little extra time.
Well, we got started late, and I've got like 8 text messages telling me that we don't have the time. But let's go ahead. Let's go to number 2 topic that we're going to unpack before we get to the OMFL mailbag. 2 shocking stacks. I'll present one. I'll let you present one. I'll present one. You let you present one. Then we'll go open up the mailbag. Number 1 for me, as I started to unpack and just look at like what is something that like just stands out for me, the NFC South running backs. I don't know if you've looked at those anytime lately, but they are playing absolutely amazing, and maybe arguably as a entire division could be the best in the entire OMFL. Let's go look at some stats really quick, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna get over here to rushing. We're gonna get over here to the entire OMFL. And you can see here, Najee Harris is your number 1 running back. Bijan Robinson is your number 2 running back. 716 for Najee. We'll get it out. 693 for Robinson. And then we've got Miller coming in currently at number 6, but originally when I looked at, or he's coming in at number 5. When I originally looked at this, he was number 4. He's got 633. And I think the only guy not at the top is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he's still not totally far. I think we're going to, right there. Tucker's going to come at 442. He's like 15 to 18 somewhere in there. These NFC South running backs, the top 2 guys, are leading the entire league in yards. All these averages, playing great games, averages per game, 102 for Najee, 115 for Bijan, and then Miller, 90.5. NFC South, you're playing great with the running backs. You got some stud running backs playing superb this season. The shocking stat for me, I think that these guys are best as a division in the entire league. What's your shocking stat?
That's a pretty interesting one. This one is kind of hits home, and I didn't know really how to take the shocking stat. So stat, I'll get it out here. But this one is actually a personal stat that I was like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that. Did you know that the Falcons do not have a quarterback in the top 30 quarterbacks this season so far?
It doesn't surprise me though because of the injuries that they've had.
But it just seemed like because I don't just go completely away from passing the ball, but I was like, man, then I started looking like, am I passing FPR wise? Am I getting enough passes in per game? Because that just didn't seem right. But even if you were to combine both quarterbacks, I would still be probably like 20. But it just seemed funny because I was all like looking at my stats. It's like your quarterback ranks number 32, and I was like, what? I didn't realize that. So that's kind of a shocking stat.
For me, my second shocking stat, I think shouldn't be that shocking because we've talked about how great they've played this entire cycle, but it's going to be the Cardinals overall coming in as the number 2 offense in the entire league. 2,851 total yards, 2,512 offensive yards, 1,821 passing, 691 rushing. He is playing outstanding. He's got 14 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, and 131 first downs. This Cardinals offense has found their rhythm. He's got playmakers all over the field. Took a step back last season, but he is right back playing great. He's got the stud wide receiver, the stud running back, the stud quarterback, the stud middle linebacker. He's got that team built really well up the middle. The Cardinals will make some noise here in the NFC. Now, he's got a tough run here. That division he's in is not easy, but if he can figure out a way to maneuver through some of those, this offense is clicking, and he's going to continue to win some games. Shocking stat number 2.
Shocking stat. I was looking through interception leaders and stuff, and I was looking over team stats, and I was really shocked to find out that the Kansas City Chiefs have 0 interceptions on the season as a defensive unit. I know he's kind of struggled a little bit. I think maybe he was away for a couple games, but that's just really odd that. And they're the only one in the OMFL that does not have an interception total to account for their team. Whenever you look at like the stats, the quarterbacks, it seems like we have several that have interception throwing problems. It's just kind of odd that we have a team that does not have an interception stat at all for their defense.
That is a shocking stat. That's not something I thought I would ever see here in the OMFL, especially how things are going in this entire Madden cycle. Let's open up the OMFL mailbag, and then we're going to wrap up the show at a pretty decent time today, so I won't get in trouble by the wife. Mr. Dwayne, what have the Falcons done differently this season to get off to such a fast start? I would just let you answer that.
Just being more patient with the ball on offense, committing to run the ball no matter what, and my defense, just like I said earlier, my defense is actually stepped up this season. I don't know why. They're all pretty much the same players that I had the previous season. I think I've got a couple of different, or actually had to let a couple of guys go, and the younger guys stepped up. Maybe it was just the simple fact that I need to get some younger blood on defense to, especially on the defensive line, because maybe cap issues helped right the ship for Atlanta.
I want to point out that this guy tried to get me to change the cap rules so that he'd have more flexibility. And somehow he's undefeated and still fielded a completely competitive team. Amazing how that works, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, I was looking out for everybody else too. It wasn't
Sometimes Nate knows what he's talking about. Okay.
But that would be my I guess my points to say that what's improved for the Falcons. Again, it may take a 180 or 360 or whatever this the next few weeks, but right now I'll take those 6 wins and I'll be happy with them.
He has a very interesting second question. Do you think offensive line overall matters? Is there a difference, in your opinion, in an 80 overall left tackle and a 90 overall one? I think, I don't know. This is a tough question because I've had this argument within my own head many, 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 many times this whole Madden cycle. I kind of went in it thinking it didn't matter at all. Just sort of the main stats mattered. I also believe that they've broken those main stats up so much as diluted how to tell a really good offensive lineman from a not one. Like, stop giving me 18 stats to look at to tell if he can block or not. Like, come on, let's just go back old school. Run block, pass block, impact block. That's it. Just give me those. Like, stop with the lead block, the finesse block, the power block, and there's still run block. Like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, why? We just went complicated for complicated's sake, and it doesn't make any sense. I've sort of slightly changed on that. I still think a majority of the time it doesn't matter because Madden has just decided you're not getting pressure no matter what. Now, if you throw a 50 overall guy out there against a 90 overall guy, you're going to get beat. But most of the time, most of the game, it doesn't matter. I also don't know that it matters a lot when the game decides to give pressure and the pressure comes out of nowhere. Because I believe you can have, and I have had, a 99 overall right tackle that gives up 15 sacks a season. Why? Just because the game decided he's too slow to get around the corner on some pass rusher. So I don't know what to think anymore. I think it's complicated for complicated's sake, and it shouldn't be. It doesn't need to be. It needs to be simplified. And, Madden, you just need to get back to your roots. Like, give me more engagement stuff, not 18 stats to look at to see if an offensive lineman is any good.
Yeah, like you said, this one's kind of hard because I've kind of experienced the same thing where we had a really good right tackle to start the cycle, and it seemed like that he gave up. And we've had problems with getting pass rush in this Madden. I think it's gotten better the last couple of seasons, but man, the first couple of seasons when it was bad and you couldn't generate it hardly, he was giving up sacks like left and right. So I was like, man, and this guy was, pretty decently rated. And I was like thinking like, here I'm going to start out the cycle and have a, solid offensive line to start off. And he just kept giving up sack after sack after sack. I ended up having to change his position, and he still struggled. So he ended up hitting the street. And, but I've had guys that are lower rated, but they also have some decent traits for like strength rating and stuff like that, and they've done pretty well, and you would think like, I'm going to struggle, protecting my quarterback. And prime example right now, I've got a right tackle that's a second-year player. His overall stats would not suggest that he would be a stellar right tackle, but so far this season he hasn't given up a sack, or he's only given up like one, and so I don't know. It's like you said, it's just like it's almost like a crapshoot. It just seems like nothing really like you can put your pin on it and say, okay, this is what I need to get to make sure I got to focus on this to make this guy better, or I need to look for this in free agency or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's really kind of strange how it works.
Now, I've heard of crap shoot before, but I'm pretty sure Maniac said crap shooter, and I like that so much better. That's going to be, I just want to, that's a crap shooter. I just don't know. Maniac, you had the next question. I'm going to let you actually tell us what that question is, and then I'll unpack it for you, and then you can give your answer.
Okay. Name a player who you feel has been the MVP so far as we approach the halfway point here in the season.
I think you got to talk about Zach Wilson. I'm going to give a couple that make the list, and I'll give mine if I had to pick. Zach Wilson, I mean, he's got 65% completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, which I think put him at the top of the league, or at least very close. Yeah, the second in the league with only 6 interceptions. Zach Wilson getting it done for the New York Jets. Receiving, these are sort of blown out of proportion. Like, I hate seeing Orion Queen with 70 catches already. This guy's going to have 200 catches before the season's over with, for 1,069 yards and 10 touchdowns. But he is playing really, really good football. You'd also have to look on the defensive side. If there is anybody that could win MVP from the defensive side, it's Micah Parsons. Just every single season, 7.5 sacks. He's getting it done there for the Dallas Cowboys. But my pick, if I had to pick, would be Bijan Robinson, your running back. 101 carries, 693 yards. He's going to be second in the league right now, 6.9 yards per carry, but 9 touchdowns. I think 9 touchdowns will put him first. Oh, no. Jeez, I guess I was way wrong about that. Denbrew just hammers his guy from the 1 yard line all the time. There's a couple guys leading, but overall, he's going to be top 2 in yards, top 5 in average, top 7 or 8 here in touchdowns. Bijan Robinson's definitely going to get some votes for player of the year and MVP. Who's your guys?
Okay. Looking at this, I really kind of only picked out a couple. And I'll go with my second choice, so that way I can talk about the one I really feel like. And both these guys are going to be on the offensive side. I think looking at the one that I would just call out here and just looking at how he's done so far, I think looking at how he has affected his team since he's came into the league, Eli Barkley of the San Antonio Desperados. 44 catches, 884 yards, 10 touchdowns. I know he's not leading in touchdowns right now, but he's kind of middle of the pack as far as the yardage goes right now. And he's not middle of the pack. He's like top 5 in yardage. But he just makes such a big impact for that team. I know he's got the quarterback Drysick. He's really, really good at getting the ball to him. But this guy just makes a total, complete impact for this team. And that's kind of what you want to look at for an MVP type quality player. Eli Barkley would be a really good pick for that. But my guy that I'm going with, that I feel like that would be really, truly the MVP, not only for his team, but for the league right now. We're looking at Anthony Richardson of the Condors. If you look at his stats right now, 17 touchdowns, only 2 picks. He's 67 completion percentage. He's attempted 141 passes, 95 completions, only been sacked 6 times. He's got almost 1,400 yards, not quite. He's about needs another 50 yards to get 1,400. But not only does he make an impact through the passing, his rushing attack right now, he's got 14 attempts, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's really, he's kind of that dual quarterback, and dare I say, like in Madden terms, I know in real life he's not, but in the Madden world, he is probably as close as you can get to a Michael Vick type player, like what we've had in the past with I think was it Madden 4 or whatever it was when Vick was on the cover. He's kind of that type of player that can make a big impact with his legs, not only with his legs but with his arm. And I think just looking at Bronco Man has utilized this guy just tremendously in that area as well.
Well, that's going to wrap it up, man. Thank you for doing this with us. Thank you for the mailbag questions. It's been a fun show. Mr. Maniac, let's close it out with one final thought, bud.
One final thought. I would not, in the wildest dream, believe that I would be 6-0 sitting at this point in the season. I'm excited that my team has actually played really well. But with that comes also the target starts getting a little bit bigger on your back because you're definitely undefeated, and everybody's like, you know what, I want to knock him out, knock him off, whatever. But it has been a pretty good season so far. Personally, I think also as a league as a whole, we've seen some improvements with pass rush, that being the guy that has been in charge of the sliders last few seasons. I'm happy about that because I know that is one thing that drives guys bananas when you can't get any kind of rush. I think one thing too, and I'll throw this out here, I was noticing in some of the games I watched, a lot of the guys internal clock when they're throwing the ball, dropping back in the pocket, they've gotten really fast at getting rid of the ball, looking for shorter routes. So that again kind of plays into a part that we don't see as many sacks, but that we are getting pressure. We are seeing things influence passes down the field and stuff. So that's one thing I guess I would just say that I'm excited to see the improvement on as we go forward in this season. And NCAA or college football now, EA college football, whatever, it's back. It's coming back. So I'm excited to get that rolling.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. I think we're going to have a lot of options to pick from as we all sort of figure out exactly what we can and can't do, and like how big of an undertaking is a 32-man NCAA league. Maniac and I are still sort of supporting, working together to figure out exactly what the future of the Deuce looks like or doesn't look like, but lots of exciting things coming here in the next couple of months. My really final thought would be scheduling. It went back to, it was great last week, and then this week it went back to bad again. And maybe there was a message in here, and I don't comb through these. It looks like Pats and Jets were looking for Monday night as well, but never posted a time. I think the Pats had an random trip that took him away that he wasn't expecting. Commanders and Bills. Again, I'm just scanning here. It looks like there's nothing posted for that, so we didn't hear from either one of those guys. Nothing posted. And yeah, let's be better. I'm sick of seeing the posts and hearing about it and getting the DMs about it. Just like, let's finish out strong. Let's have a good time in this last cycle. And I think as we should have a small break between NCAA and the end of this last season. I think I'm going to start an all-pro just for fun, laid back. Like, I ain't doing FPR. I'm not, just for fun league with comp mode, all-pro with very little slider adjustments. Just see, like, as we get ready for Madden 25, it's just some ideas I have in my head. So, and it looks like I will be having to add a new rule, as there's something in the game that somebody asked me about that I thought they took out of the game. But Maniac, because he falls down deep, dark, ugly holes, he confirmed that it is in the game. You will see this announcement come out later, but just so that you know, you are not allowed to do, is it called Playmaker? I don't even remember what they used to call it, but
yeah, where you can actually tell the running back or the closest to the line of scrimmage to go run an opposite route from where they're supposed to be going.
Don't do that. Don't do it, friends. It's pretty simple. We want you to run the plays that you call. That's what we want in the OMFL. Call a play, run the play. That's how this is supposed to work. So no, you cannot use Playmaker where you flip the right stick and make one of your receivers. Maniac says the closer to the line. I thought it was the one that was highlighted in red, that route that's your hot route. Either way, don't flip the right stick and randomly make up routes and start doing weird stuff. Don't. It's just not how we play ball here. So I will make that announcement. I will see you DMs.
Break, man.
Yeah, news break. And Little Koch, this GIF is driving me nuts right now. He put a GIF of some guy twirling a wiener, not that kind of wiener, like an edible wiener, and it's just bothering the hell out of me right now. What's the breaking news?
Third quarter, Condors are playing the 49ers right now. It's 28-6 Condors.
Wow.
With 7:49 left.
In the game?
Third.
Oh, in the third.
In the third.
Well, congratulations to the Condors. It figures why Mr. Bronco Man wasn't super chatty here tonight. Good game going over there. So go check that out. Like and subscribe here. We're 1 away from 1,000, 2 away from breaking 1,000. We finally did it. Then we can monetize our channel and make 12 cents a video. It's going to be awesome. Guys, have a great rest of your Monday. I love you. Come hang out with me for the rest of my games. And I promise I'm going to do some shooters here soon. I just been plumb wore out and was like, I don't want this ugly face to be on video. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. I'll see you on the next one. You matter to me. We'll see you.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.